Hi all, it's Matchbook Horse Racing podcast time. The fanfare of Ascot is behind us. We move on to Northumberland Plate weekend, and it's good punting stuff, definitely, between that and York. We've also got the Irish Derby, which we're going to finish up with because that's on a Sunday now, as has been the case for a couple of years now. I think in the Pretty Polly is on Saturday, so we'll be looking at that. And other Sunday bets going up too. Although we don't have decks for that, we do have the Pretty Polly decks. So we'll focus on the UK action and a couple of Irish Group 1s with Don McLean and Charlie Post. A timely reminder to like, follow and subscribe however you're listening. Best no-cost way of supporting our podcast. Take advantage of the offer, which is POD50. That's the bonus code to use. You bet 50, you get 50 quid in free bets. The T's and C's are on the website, but basically you bet 50 quid in free bets is coming back to you with the code POD50. And I'll remind you when we get to the end of the £5 money back as a free bet, best bet treble. We'll put up 3 horses. You've got to back those in a treble, a £5 treble. If it doesn't cop, get your money back. If it does, happy days. Right, let's kick off. We're just going to go in ITV race card order. So flip-flopping between Newcastle and York if you want to pull the cards up in front of you. Newcastle, we kick off with the 140. That is a handicap. 3 different horses going up. Charlie Post, first of all. How's things? What's your selection?
Yeah, things are good, Tom. Yeah, good to be back on. And a strike red in the Newcastle, the sprint handicap. He's a really admirable quality handicapper. He's ran well a few times already this year. I mean, the second to Completely Random, who ran well in the Wokingham off 98, was a really solid effort. Then ran okay at Newcastle behind Ferris, and disappointed slightly at Epsom on his latest start. But he's had 3 goes at Epsom, and it's never really worked out for him there. He got dropped 2 for that effort, so back to 96, which is just a fraction, I think, above his best ever winning mark. But I think it's workable. He's won on the all-weather at Newcastle before. Richard Fahey's are going okay at the moment, and yeah, I just think it won't be long before this lad's back in the winners' enclosure. I mean, I see I'm looking at him on my computer now. I think he's a bit shorter now. When I was looking earlier on, he was around 13.0, and I put him up winning place.
Yeah, Fahey's in great nick now. Last couple of weeks been flying for him. Don McLean, who do you like?
Yeah, I think our Amram is rock solid, Tom. He's like his form at More Thunder is obviously very good. He was beaten over a length by him at Newmarket at their Craven meeting. Then he ran him to short head. I know More Thunder probably had more in hand than the short head by which he beat our Amram, but he was just unlucky to be bumping into More Thunder. And then he went and he won at Newbury on his penultimate run. I thought his run the last day, just last week, obviously in the Wokingham, wasn't a bad run. He was drawn in stall, kind of in the middle stalls. He was slowly away. He had to move over towards the far side, but he kept on progressing towards the leaders. He was beaten less than 3 lengths in the end by Get It, who just held on, made all the running. But I thought it was a good run. He's now off a mark of 98. He won that Newbury race off a mark of 94. He's only £4 higher than he was then. And yeah, look, he's fairly likely racing all weather. Actually, he's only run 3 times on it. He has won on all weather, not at Newcastle, but he's won on the surface. And yeah, I just think he's fairly rock solid. He's a high 90s rated sprinter who goes into the race in good form and who handles the surface well.
Every time you say More Thunder, obviously I will be a little bit sick, so we need to not say that too often. That's just how. I mean, I know it was a 4.5 shot in a big field handicap, but only post bet the meeting. There you go. Do you put that up, Charlie?
Yeah, I had him in a double with Never So Brave as well.
Oh my God, that's even worse.
Yeah, I could have cried.
Okay, that's fine. If we just keep you on the screen then, we'll just have a little moment's silence. There we are. Good. Thanks, everyone. Thanks. I feel a lot better. Thanks, mate. That's okay.
Anything for you, buddy. Yeah.
You stood to win more than me, but oh, good grief. I'm going to put up 5,000 to 1, who is 13.0. The angle is that I know the horse is rated higher on the all-weather. Obviously, there's a reason for that. Good course and distance form, ran in the Chip Chase last year, and is now down to a mark of 95 on the all-weather, and I think that's just worth a go. Now, obviously, hasn't been in the greatest form of late. Was a little bit behind Ferris here a few starts ago, where the pace held up pretty well. But ultimately, the course suits his running style. And I think of 95 now. It's just a little bit too well treated to avoid at 13.0 anyway. It's not the strongest opinion race, but he's definitely one leaping out at me off a mark of 95, a track he likes at 13.0, 5,000 to 1 for David Allen and Tim Easterby. We switch to York then. So this is the 155 again, going in ITV race card order or terrestrial running order. 155 is a mile handicap. Charlie, you can kick us off, and I agree with you as I do with most of the races at York.
Yeah, Shamrock Bay for me, for Daniel and Claire Kubler. They're in really good form at the moment, the yard. This lad really lightly raced, was 2 from 2 last year as a 3-year-old, and then returned with a front running effort at Nottingham, beat 4.5 lengths, and then stepped up on that at Chelmsford, was beat 3/4 of a length by Mr. Swivel. I mean, he's gone up 2. I'm not worried about that. The yard had another one in the race, Helm Bay, that finished 8th, that then actually hacked up on the last weekend. So I think the form of that is fairly solid. He's a horse that's only had the 4 starts. There's surely more to come. Drawn 6 is fine. I'm amazed he's as big as he is, Tom, if I'm honest. I thought win and place, he was really, really attractive.
Yeah, I'm with you. I just feel like they're always underestimated, this training pair, Dan and Claire Cooper. Yeah, I think he's a big old price. What we put on the screen, I mean, I think there's 21.0 knocking around. We've put 15 on there. I don't think he's a horse that'll dramatically shorten either. Should get a nice setup, lightly raced. That was a perfectly good run where he's normally on the speed, but patiently ridden last time. And I hope they go for those tactics here. Massively unexposed, and yeah, I know. I mean, look, I get the top of the betting. There might be some more exciting looking horses in there, but this horse hasn't shown his hand at all, and I really rate them as a pair as well. Dan and Claire Cooper. So big old price, Shamrock Bay. Don.
Yeah, look, I kind of oscillated around this. You can see the case, and as you said, the two you say about Shamrock Bay, I thought Stanage was unlucky at Newmarket earlier in the season. He just hasn't gone on from that, and still think there could be a big race in him. Thought Madame de Sevigny was interesting as well. She finished 2nd behind Boyfriend last time at Nottingham, was only just beaten by Boyfriend, who'd just been beaten at Newbury by My Cloud the time before that, obviously the Hunt Cup winner. But I came back around to the favourite, Tom Archivist. Just think there could be an awful lot more to come from him. He was a 2-5 shot when he won his maiden last time at Leicester, but he couldn't have been any more impressive than he was in winning it. He's a supremely well-bred horse. He was with Sir Michael Stout, now at William Haggis. Stam's a half-sister to Integral, Sun Chariot winner, Falmouth winner, multiple Group 1 winner, and Archivist in here on a mark of 90. Yeah, I just think he's got the potential to be a good bit better than a 90-rated horse. He's only had 6 runs, so... look, he's not a massive price, but I think he's the deserving favourite.
Lovely stuff, Lee, Dale, all the regulars, welcome along. Nice to see you here. Okay, let's move on. I threw myself there by saying hello to people. I can't multitask. It's far too hard. The Chip Chase, Charlie No Bet. I hope you're right with your selection, Don, because obviously that form ties in the one we've mentioned. I wanted to just be against Kind of Blue, to be honest. I sort of don't know why, because obviously this is a horse who should just go and bolt up here, but I just can't see it. And if you look at the adjusted ratings with the penalty, he's not actually that standout. And I always had this niggling doubt about the form, back end of year form at Alaska. I always feel like it's worth taking on, to be honest. So I'm going to lay Kind of Blue. I think I'd noted down around about 2.4, 2.5, but I'll confirm that. Are you dead against Kind of Blue, Don, or you just think Ferris is a bit more interesting? I just can't see this for Kind of Blue. I don't think it's his bag.
Yeah, no, I'm against him, Tom, for sure, and that's my kind of angle into the race. I just think Watnan Racing, he didn't run at Royal Ascot, which to me that's a negative. And he's got Ascot form. He finished 4th in the Commonwealth Cup last year, as you said. He won the Sprint Stakes, and I'm like you, like form at the back end of the season on soft ground at Ascot. It's kind of it's very relevant when you go back to Ascot on that day the following season. But you just have to treat it, for me anyway, with a little bit of wariness. And look, on his debut this season, he reportedly he reared in the stalls in that Group 3 race at Chantilly. He lost all chance. He was an odds-on shot for that. So look, he may well go and win it. He's probably the best horse in the race, but I just worry, why did he not run at Royal Ascot? Al-Yanabi was, I had him on side last time at Haydock when he was really disappointing in the John O'Gaunt Stakes. He's now back down to 6 furlongs, and they're putting blinkers on him, so I can see him running, but I still think he's probably a 7 furlong horse. And I just think, Ferris, like he's stepping up from handicap company, but he's just on such a roll. He's won his last 3. He's improved from a mark of 94 to a mark of 107. And that puts him in the ballpark, as you said, Tom, kind of blew us to concede. A £7 penalty is not insignificant. And the way that Ferris won the last day, he was drawn towards the far side and stall 2. I think he had to make his ground away from the favourite Stan's Rail, and he stayed on really well. He won with a little bit in hand. That was his first run at Newcastle as well. So he's 1 for 1 at the track. And he's drawn better on Saturday, and he's going to have to step forward a lot. And look, you can't see him being a better horse than Kind of Blue in the main, but I just think he's going into it on an upward trajectory with momentum up and lots in his favour, including the track. I think there are question marks about Kind of Blue, which I think you can pose at the price. And I just think Ferris is much better value.
Yeah, can see that. That is the Chip Chase. We move on to the Criterion. Obviously, Charlie and I are exploiting the Nostrum X Michael Stout angle. I suppose the caveat to that is that it wasn't like the horse was, banging form when last seen. But and obviously, it's not like it's O'Mara that's exploited much of this, and the horse has been sold, and it's a slightly different scenario, Charlie. But 15.0, it's just one you've got to try and exploit again, surely.
You've got to have a go, haven't you? I mean, look, like, I've got huge respect for Lake Forest and the progressive Wathnan horse near the top of the market, but this lad, he's obviously, he is a bit of an enigma, and he palpably isn't straightforward, but he ran well in a Dewhurst. Even on the run last year behind Noble Dynasty in this race when it was ran at Newmarket, makes him a player. He bombed out in his last start, sold subsequently, as you said. And, he's had another wind up. He's got loads of ability. And if the O'Mara are just, and this is, just a change of environment, a new regime can bring about some sort of, not even improvement, just can bring him back to his best. 15.0 is massive. So I couldn't not put him up in case he goes and finally sort of capitalizes on the latent ability that he has just through the switchy yard.
Exactly. With Dead 8 running 15.0, you've got to have a go. Don, you're with the horse I put up at Ascot, who was a bit unlucky, but would have probably only been placed with a clear run. They're rolling the dice again. 2.88 Lake Forest. Yeah,
look, I thought he did well at Ascot. Like, it was you'll know better than me if you had him on side. Like, he was back in the field early on. It was a slowly run race. The finishing speed percent was 112% in the Queen Anne. So I thought he did well to get as close as he got. And look, I'm sure you know all the reasons for it. His back form is very good. Obviously looks even better since Lazat, who he beat in the big race, the big valuable race at Rose Hill, won the Jubilee. And he's also proven at York. He won the Gimcrack as a juvenile there. His only run at York, so that's a positive. And I think to drop back down to 7 furlongs is probably a positive as well. He's kind of got 6 furlong pace. 7 furlongs is a good trip for him. So I think he's got plenty in his favour. The ground is in his favour as well. And I think, like, as long as he's recovered from Ascot, which he'll have a week and a half since the race the last day. Since the Queen Anne, then I think he's a deserving favourite for the race.
All right, there's a couple of shouts for Nostrum and one for Lake Forest in the Criterion now at York, as Don says. The Northumberland Vase is up next. There, we didn't have prices between us, did we? Don, I'll come straight back at you. Who do you like?
Yeah, Godsend. Again, don't know what prices are going to be. I was actually interested in him if he got into the plate. But look, it was a 3-horse race that he won at Nottingham the last day, but he got out in front. He won really well. He's on a roll. He's won his last 4. He's won 5 of his last 6. He's up to a mark of 87 now from an opening when he started on this run. He's off a mark of 58 last summer, but he's really progressive. The 3rd horse from that 3-horse race the last day, Toby Tops, was pulled up, the Queen Alexandra. But even the fact that he ran the Queen Alexandra, he was a big price for that race, and that's not a negative for him. And yeah, I can see Godsend. It's draw and stall 3. It's not ideal. I kind of prefer them to be a little bit wider in the Northumberland Plate and the Northumberland Vase. But he does like to go forward, and even though it's a 2-mile race on all weather, it's not a bad strategy to be prominent in these races, I think. So yeah, I can see Godsend going well.
All right, I'm with a horse who probably won't be prominent. It's because Arts and Dancer tends to be patiently ridden. Spencer booked as well. I quite like that. But I think there's a chance to exploit some of the yards horses running now who are banging form, who perhaps haven't been in the greatest of form. The horse ran really well at Chelmsford last time. Is still relatively unexposed at this sort of distance. I take the point about he'll need the race to unfold pretty early for him. He's drawn 14. He'll likely be patiently ridden, but I would prefer that certainly for this horse than a lower draw. And as a previous course winner, Charlie Johnson is banging form, and he's just got the sort of profile that I'm sort of half speculating on the price, but I don't think he'll be banging at the top of the market. So Artisan Dancer for me. Charlie?
Sheridan for me, for Ian Williams and Hector Crouch, who's also expensive buy from France, from Arcana. I think they paid over 200 grand for him, and he's been a bit of a slow burner. He's ran well a few times for the yard at Kenton on synthetics, and his mark has dropped. I think he's sort of £8 lower than when he came to the yard. Ian's are still a bit in and out, but he's had a couple of 2 or 3 winners this month, and just the sort of your horse or yard does really well with. And the run at Goodwood on his latest start, finished 3rd behind Agaggio, beat 2.5 lengths. He was sort of in the van the whole way, kept galloping well. I just think he's in an ultra competitive race. He's a horse that is going to go in before long, because it's the sort of horse that this yard does really well with. And the mark is definitely there to be capitalised when it all comes together for him. Thought this track would really suit him. Again, I doubt he'll be bang up there early. He'll be slightly more patiently ridden, but I think the long straight will suit him really well. And he's just an interesting horse. Draw is fine in 12 as well.
All right, that's the Northumberland Vase. Caveat is there's no prices as yet, as we're doing this on just 12:30 on Thursday. The Abbasiet Cote Dubai Dash, smaller field on the straight course than you'd normally expect at York. 5 furlongs. We just had Ascot, I suppose. I nearly put up Charlie's again at York, so I leave that to you. But I think Azure Angel's got a great chance for Red Bethel on the speed. The thing is, there's bundles of speed on here, but I think the fastest of them is Democracy Dilemma, and he's now down to a mark where I've just got to have a go. I think he's only run once at the track before over 5.5 and looked like the winner at 5, and then the extra half a furlong caught him out. Like 5 furlongs at York on quick ground, and it'll be good to firm, I think, come race time, can be an absolute ice rink. And if you get loose on the front end, then like how Living the Dream on an Unthal, I mean, of all the crazy ass results you'll ever see, that was one of them. But it's because it was so speedy, the track, that he just gone. And there's a chance that'll happen with Democracy Dilemma, the 13.0. I think he's too big to knock back. There's a toss-up between him and Charlie's selection. Charlie?
Yeah, Zer Angel for me. I think Ed Bethel, really shrewd, up-and-coming young trainer. Obviously, had a Group 1 winner of Regional in the same colours. And this horse was bought out of Roger Varian's, I think, in December. And, he just built momentum for the yard. Started off with an okay run, then ran well at Redcar over 6 and dropped back to 5 the last day. He travelled really strongly. He looked the winner the whole way and asserted well to beat Alligator Alley by 1.5 lengths. I think he's up 5 or 6, but even on his back form for Roger Varian, that's still workable. And he's one of these horses for a good yard that could end up being a shrewd purchase. And I would expect by the end of the season, he'll rate a good bit higher than this anyway. So I think he's a really interesting horse at 6.5.
Don.
Yeah, I like JM Jungle. Again, fast horse. Not that he's alone in that here, but he's got a lot of speed, as he showed in the dash at Epsom the last day, when he kept on well as well to see Spartan Arrow, who's a bit of an Epsom specialist. But he is up in the handicap, but he goes well at York as well. He finished second behind American Affair at the Dante meeting, when he was only beaten a length by American Affair. It came from further back, and American Affair, of course, went on and won the King Charles III stakes there at Royal Ascot. And JM Jungle, he's got good form at York as well. I like his low draw as well. I know Azure Angel, she's drawn low as well, but I think to be towards the far side on the straight track at York, that's a positive for him. And again, he goes into the race in good form. He's got 5 furlong speed. He goes well on fast ground as well. So yeah, lots in his favour.
All right, that's the dash Doxy dilemma for me. For Charlie, he's with Azure Angel, and James Jungle for Don. We move on to the Northumberland Plate, and Don and I are with each other here. This horse, honestly, like, they must just bubble wrap, cotton wool, like everything you possibly can. I heard him interview Tom Faulkner earlier on this week. Like, the horse, I think he's just on the walker, in the water, in the pool, just. Yeah, but when he's right, and of course he was placed in this race a couple of years ago, 10.0 there, and he's going to be fit, because you kind of get one go at it with him. So I thought 10.0 was well worth a dart.
Yeah, I agree with all of that, Tom. Like his run in the race a couple of years ago, I watched it again this morning, and he really had no luck. He was keen through the early part of the race. Oisin Murphy rode him that day. He wanted to go forward early in the home straight. He couldn't get any racing room, and by the time he kind of got into the clear, it was towards the far side, and Calling the Wind went forward, and he was just unlucky that Calling the Wind found as much as he did. He finished second. He was off the track for over 600 days after that. I thought his run at Kempton the last day wasn't a bad run. He got out in front, and he just kind of tired. You can allow him that. It was his first run in nearly 2 years, and I'm sure that they've had this race in mind for him again. He's off a mark of 90. He's 4 pounds lower than he was 2 years ago, and he's 8 years old now. He's only had 9 runs. So as you're saying, Tom, he's just such a lightly raced horse. Obviously he has his issues, but that's a positive coming in here. He's got the potential to be better than a mark of 90. Like, he nearly won it off 94 2 years ago, and even a repeat of that run off a 4 pounds lower mark, obviously that would bring him close. He's got a kind of nice middle to high draw as well. So yeah, I think he's a really interesting horse in here. Yeah,
so golden rules for Don and I. I'll also throw in Shahjack, who just caught my eye. Like, normally Gordon Elliott to a British trainer wouldn't really interest me, but to James Owen, that's a bit different. I don't know, 34.0, I couldn't let him go unbacked. Obviously, on the flat, he's had a while off. He's had a while off over jumps as well, but he's one of 4 in the race for the trainer, and it's just because it's James Owen, first start for the yard. He just don't want to leave him alone here. It's just a hunch play, really. There's obviously not a huge amount to go on, but yeah, I don't want to let a James Owen first up horse at a price like that in a staying flat handicap go on back. So Shahjack for me, and the owners are pretty shrewd as well. Value Racing, I know they're a syndicate, but they land these big handicaps. Charlie, who are you with?
Yeah, I've gone for the much more obvious James Owen trained horse, East India Doc. He's been a revelation for the yard, and won the Chester Cup. I think he's £8 higher than that win. I thought he ran really well at Ascot behind Ascending. He was up there the whole way, kept on. I thought dropping back down to 2 miles was going to be well in his favour too. 7.0. I just can't see him not running really well, this horse. And the run at Ascot suggested to me that 97 was still a workable flat rating. Like, he's the sort of horse you'd love to own. He's just a real high quality dual purpose horse. And I think he's got more to come on the flat. And like I said, I think he could end up being rating higher than 97 still, especially on the back of that Ascot run. And coming back down the 2 miles, I think is well in his favour.
It's nice to hear you putting up East India Doc, Charlie. You Lululemon lover.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
And you were right.
Yeah.
Right. never mind. That was a while ago. That's the plate done. Nothing for me in the Pretty Polly. You two are going against each other. Don, first of all.
Yeah, I think Whirl is interested coming on here, Tom. Her run in the Oaks was obviously a massive run. She was only just beaten by Mini Hawk when Lorden almost did the Oaks Derby double. And she's such a well-bred filly. Her down to sister to Hermosa and to Hydrangea, who won the Filly and Mare Stakes. And she was very good in winning the Musadora. And the drop back down and trip to 10 furlongs. She seemed to see out the 12 furlongs of Epsom well. I'm sure she can go back up to 1.5 miles, but I'd say 10 furlongs probably just suits her a little bit better now than 12. And yeah, her Musadora win was in a really strong time as well. Look, it's a really good Pretty Polly. Great that Kalpana is coming over. You've got Jancy in there for William McCreary. I think there's more to come from her, stepping up and trip again. And Magical Hope. She's dropping back down and trip for Paddy Toomey and Billy Lee after running out an impressive winner of the Munster Oaks. So I think it's a good Pretty Polly, as you'd expect from a Group 1 race. But yeah, I think we'll take a lot of beating.
Charlie.
Yeah, Kalpana for me. Andrew Baldwin had a brilliant Royal Ascot, and this horse, won a Group 1 on Champions Day, but then you return behind Los Angeles. I thought it was a really good run, that. And that backed that up at Royal Ascot. Los Angeles probably unsuited by the quick ground and the tempo of the race at Royal Ascot. But back against mares, I'd just be amazed if there's not more to come from her now as a 4-year-old. I mean, looking through it, I think there's 3-year-olds have won this in the last 10 years. A couple of them trained by Aidan O'Brien, which is a positive for well. But I'm not sure it's that easy to do at the same time. And yeah, I'd rather be the 4-year-old, and Kalpana is the obvious one for me to progress throughout this season.
Pretty tight in the betting. 2.88 Kalpana, 2.63 Whirl in a 7-runner Pretty Polly. We've got one more at Newcastle to do. That's the 7 furlong handicap. Just you, Charlie Post.
Really? Okay. Dosman for me. I mean, a chancy one this for the Varian Yard, Sylvester de Souza. I mean, it all kind of centres around my feeling that his mark is a decent enough mark against the run behind Ombudsman last year. If you go back through that race, there was a few others that I can't think now off the top of my head that have ended up rated a lot higher than his mark of 96 that I think he pitches up often at Newcastle. And he's been gelded since, after 2 disappointing runs at Newbury and York at the back end. Kingman, there should be progression. Like I said, gelded, back out, fresh start. And it's a chancy one, but if he does replicate that run where he's third behind Ombudsman, this mark could look really, really workable. And hopefully the Gelding operation has done enough to refocus his mind and get him back on track.
All right, Irish Derby then, 4:10 on Sunday. And we've got 2 different horses going at the similar sort of prices. I'll kick off with Green Impact. I don't know that he'll definitely stay, but I want to chance him at 8.5. He was pick of the paddock for me in the Guineas. I loved him walking around. I was like, what is that? And he ran a stinker, really. Like thought he and Feel the Goal genuinely in the flesh were standouts. And, whether or not, I mean, the yard were quiet at that time. Obviously, there was a lot of talk in, Ireland about horses not having been on the grass or whatever. I mean, the Irish didn't really run very well in the Guineas for whatever reason. But I think he's worth a go at 8.5. I think they'll ride him differently to last time where he went forward. Obviously, this is much further now, an extra 3 furlongs compared to his win. But I think there's enough hope that he'll stay. And I'm just still struck by the picture he was when I saw him in the flesh. And I don't really want to let him go on back to 8.5. It's a race where I definitely want to play away from the top of the market for all. I massively respect Lambourne. And I think he won on merit last time. I just want to have a go at something and at a bit more of an interesting price. I don't think Lambourne's bomb-proof by any stretch. Don.
Yeah, I backed Pride of Aris in the Epsom Derby, and yeah, I'm going to get him on side again. Look, you just have to put a line through his Epsom Derby run for whatever reason. He just didn't give his running. I'm not sure anything majorly came to light since then, but it wasn't his running. I'm going back to his Dante run, which was, for me, it was a massive run. It was only his second run. He was weak in the market beforehand. He was he showed a really good attitude to go through horses. He was fastest of all through the final furlong, and that was 10.5 furlongs. He should be even better over 12. His stamina tells you that he should be a 1.5 mile horse. His dams 2 wins were both over 1.5 miles, and he's got hurdlers as well in his pedigree. So yeah, look, and if Rafe Beckett is happy to bring him over and thinks enough of his chance to bring him over and have a go again at Lambourne, then yeah, I like if he can just put a line through his Derby run, go back to his Dante run, and work from there, then yeah, he's probably going to be overpriced.
Charlie.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the same for me. I mean, I heard someone's was it the racing manager was saying that he came down the hill on the wrong leg. I just don't think he pitched up or handled Epsom in any way, shape, or form. Now, you could look back and argue maybe the Dante wasn't a great race as well, but I thought he was impressive on that occasion. Like Don, I put him up for the Derby, and I'm just going to try and keep the faith. I just read on the comments, Charles Dexter said that Pride of Arras wouldn't win if he started yesterday or something like that. So it's a game of opinions. But yeah, I thought at 8.0, you know, crikey, I put him up in the Derby when he was 5.0. So I'm not going to desert him on the back of one poor run, and he wouldn't be the first horse to not operate around Epsom and then get back on an even keel on a more conventional track.
All right, Matchbook Zero, long shot time. The market goes live an hour before each race. There's zero margin, there's zero commission. So win bets only. You're almost certain to be getting better odds than anywhere else. Shajak for me in the Northumberland Plate. First start for James Owen. Don?
Golden Rules in the Northumberland Plate at a much shorter price than Shajak, but still technically a long shot, I think.
Yeah, 10.0. Charlie?
Shamrock Bay in the 155 at York.
£5 money back special. It's get your money back from a £5 bet if this treble doesn't cop. So it's got to be these selections though. So do it because it'll pay nicely at odds of 10.0, 7.5 and 6.5. Golden Rules for me. Don?
Yeah, Ferris in the Chip Chase. Yeah, or Stakes, not Chase. I think he's going into the race on a high. He does have to step up in class, but he's got plenty in his favour.
Charlie?
I like the idea of the Chip Chase though. I think that could something we could explore. Azure Angel in the 3 o'clock at York for me.
All right, there you go. We're done, everyone. Head to insights.matchbook.com for a recap of all the best bets and hit like or subscribe if you do enjoy our content. It will be much appreciated. Charlie, Don, thanks very much. We'll see you again next week, everyone. Bye-bye.